All right, let's talk Houston Texans. Got some great news for the Texans as they're heading into a pivotal two-game stretch, obviously, to potentially win the AFC South. Let's go right into these reports. We got two of them. This is according to NBC Sports. This first one involves CJ Stroud. Texans quarterback CJ Stroud will return after a two-game absence while recovering from a concussion. He has no injury designation after full participation in practice Thursday and Friday. Stroud cleared concussion protocol earlier this week. So it's important to understand there, not only did he clear concussion protocol and he's cleared to play, he actually went through the formal practice structure with no injury designation, meaning he was fully involved with practice, fully involved with the game plan, which is a critical component, obviously, to preparing for a big-time matchup. Here's the second part of the report that I think is very interesting, is that Trevor Lawrence, the starting quarterback for the rival Jacksonville Jaguars, will miss the first game of his career. The Jaguars have ruled out Lawrence with his shoulder injury, which means CJ Beathard will make his first start since 2020. Now, these two reports obviously make sense hand in hand because we're heading down to a home stretch race in the AFC South. Right now, the Houston Texans have a game against the Tennessee Titans, a game that with CJ Stroud, I think they win. Without him, there's a good chance they lose. We saw it was a close game a few weeks ago between these two football teams. I think this is a situation right here for the Houston Texans. If they can pull out these the final two victories, if they can beat the Tennessee Titans and then beat the Indianapolis Colts with CJ Stroud, I think they do that. And if the Jacksonville Jaguars drop one of these next two games, which I think they definitely will again without Trevor Lawrence playing, they may drop both of them the way the Jaguars are playing. I think we are looking at a Texans team that wins the AFC South and completely flips the narrative for this program for the future. Look, obviously, CJ Stroud's spectacular. He's going to have a great future in front of him as an NFL quarterback. He already looks great so far early in his career. But I think a program, a franchise that was so down in the dumps, the way things were heading the last couple seasons, to flip the script and to be a division winner so early, you talk about a narrative shift. You talk about a changing in the guard in the AFC. This could be a momentum builder for the Houston Texans. They're a young football team, an exciting football team. They're only going to get better. And if they start with a division title, folks, I mean, we could be talking about the Texans making deep playoff runs and maybe even Super Bowl appearances before too much longer. Myles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the Texans. But first, Texans fans, look, if you're going to win the AFC South, you got to beat the Tennessee Titans first. Give us your prediction, final score, Texans versus Titans in the comment section below. But Myles, give me your thoughts on the Texans right now that we know the situation between the Houston and Jacksonville in the quarterback position.
Yeah, Nick, I think that the Texans are looking pretty good because you're coming off a loss, but it was to a Browns team that nobody knew would be the hottest team in the world right now. They absolutely are a buzzsaw, and you don't want to face the Browns right now. But you go back a week before that, you already beat Tennessee at Tennessee. Now you're getting them at home. I think this is big for the Texans, especially CJ Stroud being back. I think you come into this game and it's going to be a big one. You get this win, and you go to Indianapolis, final game of the season. Stroud's back into rhythm. He's back into form. I think these are two very winnable games for the Texans, and I think that gives them a leg up. On the flip side, though, the Jaguars are on a 4-game losing streak coming into Carolina. Now, Carolina is pretty terrible, but that's without Trevor Lawrence, and the Jaguars haven't been playing much better, so to speak. So this is a 4-game losing streak Jaguars team going to Carolina, and then they have to go to Tennessee to play the Titans. So I think, like you said, they drop one of those for sure. Could drop both of them, but at least I'm thinking they drop one to the Titans. This puts the Texans in really, really good place, I think, as far as potential to win this division. So I like the way that things are lining up. I like how everything is looking for the Texans, and mainly, I like how they treated CJ Stroud through this whole process. They did not rush him back from the concussion. They waited. He was healthy, and when he got back, he got 2 days of full practice. Like you said, no limitations whatsoever. I think he's going to be ready. I think he's going to be good to go. So this is a Texans team at full strength. This isn't a CJ Stroud fresh off a concussion, a little bit daisy, a little bit, confused at times. Things don't always come back so quick. He should be 100% ready to go. So I like the Texans' chances, and I just really think that everything is lining up for them to potentially win this AFC South.
Yeah, and I think you hit on something that's really important there about the fact that Houston didn't rush them. And I know there's a concussion protocol. You're like, well, how much control does the team have? Evidently, on paper, they shouldn't have much, but based on what we've seen this season, the teams have a lot. I think the Steelers have had TJ Watt and Alonzo Highsmith, two of their edge defenders, literally have concussions on Sunday games and then play the following Thursday when they had Thursday games or Saturday games. It was something like that. It was a short week. They had a concussion. They were cleared to play literally 5 days later, 4 days later, right? That shouldn't happen in the concussion protocol. So clearly the teams do have an influence on the situation. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the reality. I think if DeMeco Ryans and company wanted to push CJ Stroud to return last week, they may have been able to get it done working through the protocol, but they didn't do it. Like you said, that's a smart decision by the leadership over the Houston Texans because Stroud is the future. And based on things are shaking up, I think the Houston Texans are in a great position because when you look at their other potential rival, the Indianapolis Colts, the Colts have to go to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are playing great football over the past few weeks. That's going to be a tough game for the Colts. And then to Houston the final week of the regular season. So again, the Texans, if you look at the situation in the AFC South, they have a healthy quarterback. The Jacksonville Jaguars do not. And their other rival, the Indianapolis Colts, have to play two good teams, one of them being Houston, to finish out the season. It looks like right now the Texans are in a strong position. Now, look, they got to get it done, of course. They got to actually execute. Mike Vrabel, Tennessee Titans, they're always a tough team, very physical team to play. And then, of course, the Colts to finish out the end of the regular season. But again, let's give a lot of credit to DeMeco Ryans and the leadership he has shown turning this football team around. There's been a lot of talk of Mike McDaniel in Miami and Dan Campbell in Detroit and things like that. Great stories. The Ravens are tearing up the NFL. The 49ers look unbeatable in the NFC. And those coaching staffs have done a great job. But I think we have to give a lot of credit to what DeMeco Ryans, what Bobby Slowick as the offensive coordinator has done with this football team to turn. They were a dumpster fire. Let's be totally honest, Houston Texans fans. I think a lot of you would agree. They were a dumpster fire the past few seasons, and now they are immediately contenders. And I think now, based on the final 2 weeks of the regular season, front runners to win the AFC South.